Hey everyone. Okay, so I am in the middle of setting up my live rig, and I came across something really cool that I just had to stop and I had to show it to you because it's awesome. So it's my little secret weapon now, and I wanted to share it to all of you and not keep the secret to myself. So first, I have this muted, but I'm gonna hit this just to finally do a double mute. Okay, so here's my secret weapon. You ready to see it? All right. It is this. Okay. Okay, so what? This is, as you can see it here, this is a TS, so mono, splitter to dual mono. It is not a TRS, which is a stereo. So it's not that. It is a mono splitter. Okay, and again, you're like, so what? Well, as you probably know, all my videos, I start everything out. My entire chain goes straight into a 29 pedals EUNA. I love that thing. It is the bee's knees. It brings all the sparkle, clarity, and life back to my sound. My guitar comes alive. The touch responsiveness, just the overtones, the harmonics, everything is put back in place. And oftentimes, elements that I didn't know I was missing. And I had to get it on this rig. But I wanted to do something unique. I wanted to have like a parallel path that allowed me to do some of my more experimental sounds not being affected by my more standard sounds. So what I wanted to do was figure a way to run like my quote-unquote usual type of rig, which is pretty simple in terms of what it has. Overdrive, distortion, delay, and reverb. Yeah, no, these are not simple delays and reverbs, but you get the point. 4 pedals, that's kind of all I need. I could probably do it in 3, maybe even do it in 2 if in a pinch, but I don't have the need to do it like that simple. I can make it a little more complicated. But then I wanted to say, okay, like I have all of these fantastic magic pedals, so to speak. I have like the Chase Bliss Lossy and the hologram Microcosm, and I wanted to bring those in too, but I as much as I love these, I didn't want those sounds to be affected by my other side of things, and vice versa. I didn't want these in here. I didn't want them in my delay. So I started to figure out, like, what do I do? I reached out to Jesse over at 29 Pedals, who designed and makes the EUNA, and I really said, hey, can you mod mine to be a stereo out? And he said, why don't you try a passive splitter? Look at this, passive splitter. It's probably not the final version I'm going to use, but in terms of experimentation, this is just fine. He said the EUNA should drive it just fine. Let me know what it sounds like. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. Okay, but now you're asking where's the EUNA? Oh, that's easy. All right, hang on. Here we go. We're going to flip this bad boy over. The EUNA is right here. Boom. I have a nice, pretty color there. So, all right. So how does this work? All right. So it plugs in to the input, or the output, sorry. And then I can run it into each of the other, it's so messy down here, I got to clean this up. I can plug in the other ones to go where they need to go. So, so the first one I plugged in, this one goes to the magical pedals like the Lossy, and then the other one goes into the 1981 LVL. So, okay. We're back in play. Alright, so let's hear what this sounds like. Let's see what we've got. And why is it magical? Is it magical? Let's find out. Okay, so what did you hear? You heard everything minus the DRV, because I don't need to go like full-blown here distortion, but it's there if I need it. Alright, let me turn off the Gen Loss, and let me turn off the Microcosm and the Lossy, and just hear those the standard overdrive. Or, you know, we could do, could actually just do these pedals here, the Lossy and Microcosm. Love the prettiness that it brings in. And, okay, all right, so I'm getting carried away here. Let's go back, actually turn it all back on. And let's go to that one here. Let's go to that one here. Let's bring that back into it. All right, I want you to hear what it sounds like without the EUNA on. So just trust me here. It is being turned off. So here is what it sounds like without. And this is why I love the EUNA and need the EUNA, because here's what it sounds like without. Okay. Now, put it back on. Just love it. I love what the EUNA brings. I don't know, did you hear it? Could you hear the clarity pop back into it? It's just brilliant. So you may be asking, like, okay, so how is this all running? Because you saw that I split it, but how is that actually running? Okay, so I have it going this way. Out of the EUNA, it's split, and for the standard channel, so to speak, it goes into the LVL by 1981, into the 1981 DRV, and then that goes mono into the LVX here, and then that goes mono out to the left input of the Mercury X. Okay, pause right there. The other channel goes into the Lossy, into the Microcosm, and then from the Microcosm into the right input on the Mercury X. So the Mercury X gets both, and then it sums it together and spits it out mono, and I have the gen loss here in mono as well. So if I want to bring in some of that vintage vibe, I can totally do that, or the wonderful tape stop that I super duper love. Love that too. So, all right, so that's kind of how it works. And the other last thing that is really neat about the way I have this is that it is, we'll call it a hybrid MIDI system. I don't have a MIDI controller beyond the Microcosm. I love when the Microcosm has the same kind of tap tempo and BPM as my delay. So the Microcosm actually sends out MIDI clock, and so it is MIDI out 5-pin to the MIDI in of the LVX. So that way, as I'm changing presets or changing whatever, the tempos can match based on this. So that's that. I don't have it running into here because for the way that I like to use it, I don't really want tap tempo going into my reverb, but that's my board, that's my live rig. Okay, so if you're asking why I do it this way, it's because I want to have these wonderful magic pedals not being delayed and not being overdriven. I want them to be on their own setup. I want them to be able to do whatever I want them to do without going into the rest. And also, like, in my setup, I kind of do I do like a 3-piece drums, bass, and just me on electric, and I want to be able to cover some of that other stuff, like the pads, keyboard type style, and be able to bring that in and not be the whole sound that's coming out of my rig. So, and why mono? Because I do everything stereo. Well, it's quite simple. I just don't really want to lug 2 amps around. So, most situations live, mono's just fine. So I love doing stereo on the channel, but not today. Well, that's it, folks. I hope you learned something, and if nothing else, I hope that it sparked some imagination as to what you might be able to do. Think outside the box. There's so many fun things that you can do with these pedals and these effects. So that's it. Just a little thing there. Again, a huge shout out to Jesse at 29 Pedals for giving me the idea of just using a passive splitter and not having to buy anything else. And I really appreciate you, man, and thank you so much. And otherwise, thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a great time. Okay? Peace.